Hi there, I'm Dr. Katharine Hubbard. I'm Director of Learning Enhancement and Academic Practice here at BNU, and this is a short video to explain our categorical marking system and the way that we want to use it in your marking your assignments. So what is categorical marking and why are we using it? Well, categorical marking is fundamentally saying that rather than using the whole scale of 0 to 100, so we give marks in percentages, we can't actually mark to that degree of resolution if we're marking an essay or a report or a piece of coursework. So categorical marking is about actually just simplifying the marking scheme down so that we can actually make cleaner and leaner academic judgments about the quality of a piece of work. So it's actually designed to increase the confidence and the academic judgment of degree classification. So the way that it works is we've set out a certain number of marks that along that scale that we think it's appropriate for you to award. So the main thing that you'll notice if I look, so this is the undergraduate degree descriptors. It's the same for postgraduate, but I've just put the undergraduate ones here. So if we look at an upper second class, that's getting a 2-1 degree. That's the final outcome that a student will get. When they graduate, they'll get a first, a 2-1, a 2-2 or a third, or if you're in postgraduate, they'll be getting a merit or a distinction or a pass. So what we're doing is effectively saying, okay, well, those are the classifications that you're going to get at the end. Within that, are we going to award a high 2-1, a medium 2-1 or a low 2-1? And therefore, this is the mark that we're going to get. So what we're saying is if we think, yes, that's an upper second class piece of work, but it's at the high end of that, then we should be awarding it a 68%. Or, yeah, it's an upper second class, but I think it's at this lower end, so it should be a 62. So you'll notice in this, what we're doing is removing a lot of those boundary decisions. So what we're doing is we're actually asking you to make a decision on a piece of work. Is it a 58, so it's a lower second class, or is it a 62, so it's an upper second class? Well, what we're asking you to do is to make an active decision rather than just say, oh, I'm not really sure, is it a 2-1 or a 2-2? I'll just give it a 60 and it will all come out in the wash. What we're doing is asking you to actually make a more confident judgment about the quality of that piece of work. So you're either going to award, so if it's on the boundary, it's either 58 or it's 62. And then that gives us more confidence when it comes to calculating a student's final grade and their final degree classification. That's been made on academic merit rather than just, it's averaged out. So it's actually giving us more confidence in the academic judgment of our degree classifications. So it's rationalising the marking structure to give more consistency, more reliability, more validity, more transparency. And what you should find is that it helps within your programme teams to be more consistent and to make those expectations clearer. And also to realise that actually we can't actually make that fine granular judgment. Can we really justify the difference between this piece of work gets 61%, this one gets 62, this one gets 63, this one gets 64, this 65? We actually don't mark to that level of resolution. So what we're actually doing is sort of numerically encoding the way that we actually mark of, I think that's it's in this bracket and then it's in the high end of that bracket. I'm going to give it a 68. So hopefully it actually helps your program team to be more transparent and consistent with itself, but also transparent and consistent with your students. As I say, it avoids the borderline or threshold marks, so it avoids having quite so many 59s, 59s and 60s, so borderline, so that therefore final things are coming through for averages. We're actually increasing the quality of the academic component of this. We're saying, yes, this either has met the requirements or it's not met the requirements to go into that classification. So we're avoiding so many borderline decisions to be made, and it's giving a clearer articulation of the grades so that students have got a clearer understanding of where they are at on the scale and how that feedback can relate to the assessment. So it's actually helping the students to understand what they need to do a little bit more, and they can see the jump. Okay, I'm on 62. What do I need to jump to that next bracket rather than what's 62 versus 63, 64? It should actually help to make those decisions clearer to your students as well. There are full details of the rationale and a frequently asked question thing in the assessment and feedback policy. It's well worth having a look at the policy. It's not only just the categorical marking that's set out, but it also has full details of how to use it and why we're using it. So this is in the BNU assessment and feedback policy. So we are expecting that you are using it as academic colleagues. So what you need to do to ensure that you're using it. So you need to use the up-to-date assessment brief templates on BEN. So the 25-26 template marking grids have been updated to align with categorical marking. So please don't use any old assessment grids. The new assessment grids have got the categorical marking system built into it, so you should be able to use those nice and easily. We've also got a LEAP quick guide to implementing categorical marking, and that will be linked on Ben. So if you go to the LEAP area on Ben, you should be able to find that. That helps you to understand the scale, but it also helps you to understand what happens when there are multiple assessments. So if you've just got one assessment, then it should fundamentally be on categorical marking, unless it's something like a multiple choice question where it wouldn't be appropriate. You can use the raw score for that. But for a report, an essay, a presentation, whatever it is, most assessments should be going through the categorical marking scale. But if you've got two assessments in your module, and you might need to combine those, and it gives you some worked examples of how to do that. So there is a quick guide to implementing categorical marking. So fundamentally, you need to get your mark schemes aligned with it and check the quick guide. But I think what you should also do is to discuss your marking criteria as a course team. Are you being consistent? So all of your second year or level 5 modules, or all of your master's modules, are you setting consistent expectations in terms of using that categorical marking? Is it always clear what the difference between a 58 and a 62 would be? So working with your course teams to get that standardisation and consistency, and then discuss that with your students. So you're discussing that. Make time in class to go through the marking criteria. This is how it works. These are the marks that are available. This is what you need to do to get each of those. There are other resources available to help you in terms of writing marking criteria, but we do recommend, it's really good assessment practice, and it helps reduce inequalities in assessment outcomes. So in things like the awarding gap, if you take time in your class to help students understand the marking criteria, where their marks come from, what you need to do to get into each bracket of the marking, and using that categorical marking scale, then it will help students to understand what they need to do and improve their work. So do have a look at the resources that we've prepared for you on categorical marking. Reach out to LEAP if you've got any questions about how to implement it. But hopefully, as I say, this should be giving you more confidence in the academic judgment to be really sure, yes, I'm really confident of what that student should be getting using that categorical marking scale.